Welcome and hello from Alex, with a story from r/TalesFrom Mix, where a gas station cashier foils a friend's attempt to exploit a loophole. Coming up next is a story from Low Sea Attack. Peril of a Pretty Face. This is a new one for me. Yesterday, I was covering a shift for a young co-worker who henceforth shall be known as Andy. He's been with us for about a year and has been doing pretty well for the most part. Andy's friendly and can handle the hectic pace a busy gas station can get into during commute times or big lotto days, like yesterday. So, he's out with an infection and I am covering his high-traffic day, when a young lady steps in confidently and asks for cigarettes. Well, I am never too busy not to ID, but she tells me that she hasn't got one. Not the usual, it's at home, or I forgot it. No, she just doesn't have it. I guess she thought her nice makeup made her look old enough, but I still had to scan her ID, which she didn't have. Next, she tries to tell me that she lives close by in some apartments and she lived within walking distance of the gas station. Okay, that is common of many of our customers. Our little food mart is quite convenient to them. But that still wasn't a good excuse to not have an ID. Luckily, she wasn't a Karen about it and calmly left without her smokes. Approximately 20 minutes later, my phone rings. Now, I am too busy to answer it, but checking it a few minutes later shows it was Andy. In between customers, we text the next, since I really shouldn't be on my phone during shift. Andy asks if I had had a pretty young lady come in to buy cigarettes, thinking Andy was going to tell me to watch out for her, because maybe she'd tried her feminine wiles on him too. I reply, yes, but she had no ID, so I didn't sell them to her. Imagine my shock I tell you, when Andy admits that her mystique had worked on him. She's my friend. He texts, it's okay. Apparently, she had called Andy for backdoor help in getting her nicotine fix without a valid ID. This was such a shock because Andy had earned multiple green passing cards from surprise inspections, hanging up on the bulletin board. And now this revelation. How long had this been going on? My last text to Andy was, tell her to bring her ID. In my retail experience, this is the first time in witnessing an inside job. Oh Andy, I am so disappointed in you. She was just another pretty face taking advantage of you. It's not worth it, grow up, before she gets you fired. Wow, that's a crazy story. Andy definitely dropped the ball on that one. It's hard to believe someone who can handle the usual gas station rush would crack for a customer, especially when their ID checks are known to be good. Using his friendship like that is pretty low. Gotta hand it to the cashier though, sticking to the rules even when a friend's friend is trying to pull a fast one. Hopefully, Andy learns from this and doesn't let someone's looks cloud his judgment again. Retail is tough enough without risking your job for a friend who might not be as loyal. Coming up next is a story from Mstab Brannigan. Can someone please explain this logic? Had a young woman come to check in, tried handing me her mom's Cash App card. Double whammy, we don't take cards that aren't yours and we don't take Cash App. I apologized and said I couldn't take the card. I told her I needed a card in her name, and it had to be either a credit card or bank debit card. She insisted she already paid and I explained that we needed payment and a card for the security deposit. She insisted again that she'd already paid because people just enter their card info on any old site without actually paying attention to what they're agreeing to. I politely explained again that the room had only been reserved and not paid for, and she relented and went to get her boyfriend because we all know two idiots are better than one. The boyfriend comes in. He has a bank card, but he leads the conversation off with I have a bank card, but there's no money on it. Will that work? Now I've said some stupid things in my life, but I don't think any of them rise to the level of here is my useless piece of plastic I'd like to pay for my room with. Now after some back and forth, I was able to determine that for some reason the boyfriend believed that despite me saying we don't take Cash App cards or cards that don't belong to you, we would take a Cash App card that didn't belong to them as long as they could demonstrate they had a useless bank card also. Not sure what gave them that impression. Wow, that sounds like a wild ride at check-in. It's hard to imagine the logic behind trying to use someone else's card, let alone one that isn't even accepted by the hotel. And then the boyfriend waltzing in with an empty bank card like it's some kind of magic trick. Gotta give you major props for staying polite through all that. Honestly, some people make customer service seem like an extreme sport. The whole situation is equal parts frustrating and hilarious. Hopefully, that was the only crazy check-in you had that day. Coming up next is a story from Spetty23, and if you like the video so far, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. When your invoice says goods do not pass title until payment is made in full, we mean it. At a small managed service provider I used to work at quite a while ago now, we did an upgrade of computers for a small business that involved us supplying and installing 5 new computers and monitors. Our invoices had a standard retention of title clause, which basically says that although we have supplied you goods, until payment is made in full, ownership is retained by us. Their invoice was due without payment being made. Several follow-ups were made with standard excuses like sorry, we forgot, we thought that was due next month, the check is in the mail, I thought we paid that, etc. After over 3 months overdue, the owner of the MSP at the time basically said he would make one more call and attempt to receive payment, and if they didn't pay immediately, we would just go down there and recover our goods. He made the call, predictably. We got another excuse why they didn't make payment. Right, he says, let's go get out stuff back. When we get there, just start unplugging our computers and pack them up into the car, he says. So we arrive on site to the clients. Someone at the client mentions, oh, I didn't realize we had you booked to see us today. You don't, says my boss. As instructed, we just start recovering our equipment. And by recover, I mean just unplugging from power and removing it from their office with no regards to what they were currently working on at the time, shutting down the computers properly, allowing them a chance to save their work, etc. What are you guys doing? One of the staff of the client asked. My boss responds, you guys are over 3 months overdue on your invoice. We have tried to get payment on multiple occasions, but still haven't. One of the staff from the client makes a call to their boss. Eventually the phone is handed over to my boss. He says if you can get here in the next 10 minutes, which is how long it will take us to recover our goods, we'll return the computers. Amazingly, the boss of the client makes it within 10 minutes, cash in hand for the amount our invoice was outstanding. The cash is accepted by my boss, who instructs us to replace the PCs. We replace the PCs and leave. A payment receipt is emailed to the client, and this was the last we ever heard from them. Now that's a story. Sounds like your old boss wasn't one to mess around. 3 months overdue is pretty outrageous, and good on him for taking action. The client definitely got a lesson in taking invoices seriously. Imagine the scramble to get the boss there with cash in hand. Pretty dramatic. I wonder if they learned their lesson or just saw it as the cost of doing business the way they do. Either way, it's a story that sticks with you. Coming up next is a story from Touch a Ma Spaggett. If you tell me about an allergy, don't backtrack. I take everyone who comes in and tells me about an allergy they have seriously. Last night I had a woman tell me she was allergic to garlic. We use a lot of garlic in our kitchen. We also use it to season our fries, so there's always a risk of cross-contamination as it's a powder. As she was telling me things she wanted from our menu, I had to continuously tell her she couldn't have it because it had garlic in it. She starts getting frustrated and says, well, what can I have? I give her 3 options with modifications, and none of that was good enough. She then begins to backtrack, saying she can have a little bit and if it's not raw, it's fine, etc., etc. I decide to do a little bit of malicious compliance and inform her that I don't feel comfortable serving her something that she's informed me she's allergic to. I decide I don't get paid enough and get the manager. I'd already spoken to the manager before I went to discuss food options, so she was aware of the situation. The lady completely 180 seconds and tells my manager she just doesn't like garlic, so as long as the flavor isn't strong, she'll be fine. Manager took my side, told her to choose one of the options. Lady decided on one but continued to be huffy the whole night because she didn't get what she wanted to eat. Don't tell servers you have an allergy or intolerance unless you actually do. We take that stuff serious. Too long, didn't read. Lady told me about a fake allergy. I wouldn't serve her what she wanted, then she backtracked. Whoa, that customer sounds like a real head scratcher. Good on you for taking allergies seriously. You never know how severe someone's reaction could be. It's wild how she flipped the script from full-blown allergy to picky eater in 2 seconds flat. Sounds like she was trying to get special treatment without the commitment. The manager backing you up definitely makes the win even sweeter. Just goes to show, honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to food allergies. Coming up next is a story from somebody. Tipping at the nail salon. It's been over a year since I had my nails done. I decided to go into the nail salon. I decided to get a gel manicure which was priced at $40. At the end of the service I tipped $5. She made me bleed in 2 places. My nails were not all the same length and she didn't get the color I asked for. After I wrote down the tip, she spoke in a negative tone in her native language. I just walked out baffled. OP's experience at the nail salon sounds frustrating and disappointing. It's understandable that they expected a certain level of skill and attention to detail, especially when paying for a service like a gel manicure. The fact that the technician made mistakes such as causing bleeding and not delivering the requested nail color is concerning. Additionally, the negative reaction from the technician after receiving a tip is unprofessional and adds to the overall unpleasantness of the experience. It's unfortunate that OP left feeling baffled by the situation, highlighting the importance of professionalism and customer service in the beauty industry. That wraps up the r/Tales from Mix. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to visit my Spotify channel. Link is in the description, so you can listen to the best Reddit story while being outside, and remember to hit that subscribe button.